So I played A Plague Tale Requiem. This game is a sequel to a title called A Plague Tale Innocence. It's actually profound. Not because it's telling a story that we haven't seen before. Not because its graphics haven't been done before, because it has. Not because it's revolutionary in any way for that matter, but because it breathes somehow new life into the formula that was introduced to us thanks to Naughty Dog's The Last of Us. By that I mean the third-person over-the-shoulder narrative-driven adventure game. According to game design habits, you could say this was all started with Resident Evil 4, which evolved into The Last of Us and on to even God of War. Asobo did the genius thing and made this game to be unique in almost every way apart from the previous mentioned games. One of the key things about the gameplay that keeps it fresh is that rather than point and shoot guns, the main character, Amicia, uses rocks and a sling. These rocks were a limited amount in Innocence, but in Requiem you have an unlimited supply. She also has a set of alchemy solutions and mixtures that she can use for combat, and they have more flexibility this time around. So, aside from the rocks, which only kill with a headshot on unarmored enemies, you also have Ignifer for setting things on fire, Extinguish for putting out fires and create a smoke-like effect, Tar to slow and stun enemies with a flammable substance or increase the effectiveness of existing flames, and finally Odorous, which attracts rats to a specific location. Each one of these have way more use than the alchemy choices in the previous game and less of a one-trick pony type of use. The only exception that does come off as almost useless is Odorous, because it can be used to attract rats to a location and out of your way for a limited time or used on an enemy, making them into rat food. Problem is, I can't say why it's not that useful for risk of spoilers. The graphics are definitely something to marvel at, but mostly due to the art team. Apparently, they did all they could to represent centuries-old France with immaculate beauty and respectable accuracy. The facial expressions of Amicia and Hugo make you feel how they feel in each moment. The environments are so wide in contrast. By that I mean the huge lived-in spaces with its great use of colorful flowers and bright surroundings are vastly different from the dark and black ratness and plague-infested places. It almost reminds me of Hyrule Town as Kid Link in Ocarina of Time compared to Hyrule Town as Adult Link. A place you found comfort and wonder immediately became the worst thing ever. The music actually surprised me, honestly. It sounds more like a soundtrack from a Square Enix RPG. When I close my eyes, I hear a live orchestra filling the room and my ears with pleasure. The composition makes good use of choirs, cellos, violas, flutes, and lutes. At times, I'm not sure if I'm playing a game or if I'm watching a high-budget, captivating, cinematic work of art. about the story being so great is that it borrows from the same idea that made The Last of Us so great, which is using something from real life to make this genius plot. Just like Naughty Dog used spores from cordyceps, which is a type of fungus that takes over the mind of living beings to make a new type of zombie-like threat, Asobo opted to use the Justinian Plague for a new threat for this game series. For those that don't know, the Justinian Plague was the first recorded major outbreak of the plague pandemic in 541 AD. It affected the Sasanian Empire, Byzantine Empire, and Constantinople. It was believed that the outbreak spread from Egypt to Constantinople by fleas and rats. The effects would start from one bite, resulting in an infection that kills flesh and eats away at the human body. Now you know why I make comparisons to The Last of Us so much. The game takes this premise of the plague and uses the rats as the common threat of the entire world, just as the infected were natural enemies and survivors were human enemies. Though in A Plague Tale: Innocence and Requiem, the rats serve as the natural enemy and the soldiers serve as a parallel to the human enemy. Conflicts arise and changes happen. Characters evolve and allies turn heel. Whether these things resolve themselves or if there's a happy ending is up to you guys to find out when you play it. To sum things up, this game really did improve on everything from the previous, which hardly made any mistakes to begin with, and I have to give them credit. There are many examples in game design where others try to copy what one team did and failed, but this is a masterclass on how to be inspired rather than copy and paste another rendition. A Plague Tale: Innocence and Requiem are not failures, and they are not copies in any sense of the word. These games are in a league of their own and likely the best experience I've had from a new IP in a while. Thank you, Asobo Studios. And thank you for making it this far in the video. If you did enjoy it, go ahead and give it a like. And if you have some comments or things that I might have missed about the game or key things that you want me to mention in a future title, then leave that in the comments for me. And subscribe if you want to see more in the future. And once again, I appreciate you sticking with us. This has been Slim Cognito, and you have a great day.